umaasa sa iba kundi sa iyo at sa akin ang simula ng pagbabago. Panahon na para bumangon at paikutin muli ng tama ang mundo. Suliranin ng ating lipunan, unti-unting magagawan ng paraan. Sa bagong siglo na ito ng ating mga buhay, tayo'y magsama-sama. Bigyang liwanag ang daan, maging gabay sa lipunan, kailangan ng iyong kamay.
Halika na kapwa Pilipino, halika na kapwa Isko at Iska.
Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani, sa harap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa, ang bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Panibagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo. Ang agos mo ay ang iyong natutunan laban sa karahasan. Ang iyong sandata ay serbisyong sasakip sa mamamayan mula sa kahirapan. Halika na, kapwa mandirigma, magtagumpay kapwa Isko at Iska. Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani, sa harap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa, ang bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Panibagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani, sa harap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa, ang bagong pag-asa ay taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani, sa harap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa, ang bagong pag-asa ay, ang bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Panibagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Huwag mong iasa sa iba kundi sa'yo at sa akin ang simula ng pagbabago.
Good afternoon from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Warm greetings to our Zoom participants and shout out to other participants who are here with us today via YouTube Live. Welcome to the second session of Balangkas NSTP Project Management Webinar Series, OBRA, Project Implementation Webinar. So it's been more than a month since we had the first session of Balangkas, and I feel like everyone is looking forward to today's webinar. Again, my name is Faith Navarro, your host for today. So before we start the webinar, let us all stand for the singing of the national anthem.
Pasulong! Good! Ulan! Go! Tanghal! Kulay! Baba! Kulay!
Again, welcome to everyone. We want to have a really educational, fun, yet organized webinar for today. So for that to happen, we have some house rules, of course. First, please be mindful of your microphones and video cameras throughout the event. Also, we recommend you to use the side-by-side with speaker video option so that you can see our speakers and also the spotlighted notes. Third, we can entertain questions after all the talks. The questions gathered in the registration form will be prioritized. For other questions and comments, please use our chat box. Also, kindly indicate to whom your question is for. Example, to Professor Diliman, how can we conceptualize projects in the new normal? Next, certificates will be awarded to those who request for one and comply with minimum requirements through the webinar evaluation form. The link for the webinar evaluation form will be announced at the end of the session. And to our presenters, you will be reminded of the 2 minutes remaining time by our tech staff to wrap up your presentation through chat. Okay, before we go to our talks, we would like to welcome again all our participants. And if you have colleagues and classmates who are not yet here in our webinar, please do call them. We highly encourage our participants from Zoom and YouTube to introduce themselves through chat. So right now, if you're present and if you're listening to me right now, please send your name, where you are from, and what your discipline is through our chat box. And we would like to mention some of you. Okay, as we are doing that, we would also like to know which SUC or HPI you are from. So please indicate that as well. Let's go, malay nyo. May maka-network kayo dito for your future projects. Interdisciplinary collaboration can be a good route for some of our project ideas. Okay, can we see our chat box? Wala pang chat. So let's start with me. Let me introduce myself again. Again, I'm Faith Navarro, and I'm a producer. I'm a graduate of UP Diliman, and I'm currently working on a podcast. You can see our podcast, Puma Podcast, at Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. While we are waiting for our participants to introduce themselves to our chat, let's have an icebreaker first. We will be giving away some NSTP Diliman office merch for participants who will join our game today. So lend me your ears as I explain the mechanics of the game. Simple lang naman ang ating mechanics. For our Zoom participants, kailangan lang natin magpaunahan na makasagot sa itatanong ko sa inyo. you may buzz in by raising your hand, your actual hand, not just the raise hand emoji. Kaya we need your cameras to be on. Can we see our participants now? May we request our participants to turn on their cameras? Thank you, Sir Dennis, for turning your camera on. Sir Vic, Sir Nico, Sir Anthony, Sir Erwin. Okay. So for our YouTube live audience naman, you can send us your answers through the comment section and we will pick one lucky winner who will get free merch from NSTP Diliman. So this will be an easy question as long as you were with us last time or during Panganod. Okay, so here's the question. In one short sentence, ano na nga ba ang natutunan mo o na-i-apply mo na sa mga nakaraan nating Balangkas webinar? Ang Panganod, project,
Is it me or nakat si Faith?
I think Faith is lagging po. Let's wait for our host
Okay.
for a bit.
Sige.
She is connecting po. Let's wait for Faith. Thank you so much. Hello to all our participants. Thank you for attending our second webinar series, which is OBRA. Salamat po sa different SUCs na nag-attend po. And just as Faith mentioned a while ago, we would like to ask you to type in po your names and which universities or HEIs are you from. We highly encourage you po so that we would be able to identify kung sino-sino po ang mga participants natin for today. So while waiting, let's get to know each other through our chat. Say hi to everyone, and let's be proud of which universities or HEIs we are from. Thank you.
hello, I'm back. I would like to apologize for the technical glitch. As I was saying, we will have an icebreaker, and this will be a review of what we had last time during Panganod. So I will ask you this question, and in one short sentence, please explain your answer. So here's the question. Are you ready? If you're ready, can I have thumbs up? Okay, thank you so much. Now here's the question. Ano na ang natutunan mo sa mga nakaraan nating Balangkas webinar ang Panganod Project Proposal Conceptualization Webinar? Go! Meron na bang nakataas ng kamay? O meron na bang nauna sa ating YouTube live? Okay, still waiting. Don't forget, you can win NSTP merch from UP Diliman. So I think we have a tote bag, and what else? Pens. Lahat ng kaya ibigay ng NSTP, bibigay daw nila sa inyo. So, go, sagot na. Meron ba kayong natutunan? For sure, marami kayong natutunan. At hindi lang makapili sa ngayon, sa dami ng natutunan. Meron na bang sumagot from our YouTube live? Sir Vic, ready na po ba tayo? Gusto niyo po ba
Me, ma'am?
sumagot, Sir Vic? Yes
Sige
po.
po, good afternoon po ma'am and good afternoon po everyone. So with regards po sa learnings ko ng last na session, I think it would more on project conceptualization po. And I can remember that I was able to ask the second speaker with regards to my proposed project in mind, yung mag-ano kami ng tourism tour guiding sa isang community dito po. Tapos okay naman po siya. So because of that, I actually asked my students last meeting or last Saturday, since we have our face-to-face po na common module yung last na po. Then I already oriented them for a possible na to work on project proposal for the second semester in time for the immersion po. So yun, yung mga concepts po na natutunan ko last webinar ay nagamit ko po at na-discuss ko po sa kanila.
Wow, thank you so much,
Thank you po.
Sir Vic. It wasn't just a lesson, it was applied actually.
Yes po.
Thank you for updating us about that po, Sir Vic. And also, please hold on. Our NSTP tech team will message you on how you can win your prize. Thank you so much,
ma'am.
Sir
Thank you po.
Vic. Anyone else from our Zoom? Okay, Miss Clarissa Marie Rodriguez said, executive summary, background of problem, proposed solution. Yes, everything. All this were discussed last time. And from YouTube, ito na ba yung winner natin sa YouTube? Kasi nauna na siya. Okay, from our YouTube Anod, I have learned from Mr. Erwin Ong that a good project proposal must be SMART or SMART. That's from Nathaniel Planos. So thank you so much, Nathaniel, for answering our icebreaker question. Now, to kick off our webinar, let's now get down to business. Let's introduce our main speaker for today's event. It is none other than Sir Erwin Donavan Song. And for those who have missed our first webinar, Sir Erwin was also our main presenter. He is currently working as a change leader in Nokia. He is passionate about connecting both the industry and the academe. That is why he has been teaching part-time in different universities since 2007. He graduated BSECE and MSCS in Mapua. He also completed MBA in UP Diliman. He is also a certified project manager by PMI. Looks like for Sir Erwin, learning is really for a lifetime because right now he's pursuing his PhD in business leadership in Ateneo. Let us use our heart and clap emoji to welcome Sir Erwin Donavan Song all the way from Poland. Hello, Sir Ong.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, hello. Welcome. We're back to Season 2. No? Sana yung Season 1 napanood nyo para makapag-catch up. No? Thank you sa mga nag-provide kanina ng response, no, about si Sir Vic at iba pa about their feedback dun sa ano yung natutunan nila sa Season 1. Okay, so remind me, if you visit Poland, you earn a tour. No? Sabihin niya, sir, ako po yung nakaalala nung nag-volunteer, nag-recite. Okay, so let me greet you first in Poland. So in Polish, no, it's basically dzień dobry. Okay, which means good day. So good afternoon, everyone. Okay. So now, let me share my screen. No? I hope you're super duper excited, no? Kasi kumbaga sa movie, basically what we have right now is continuous. We talked about the first part, which is creating the proposal. This second part is about implementation. Okay, which is we are going to from the proposal, it got approved. What's next? And then on Friday, I hope you're excited with me. We will do a workshop, hands-on tools. We'll do something like activity, just short one during my talk, okay? And we'll have some sort of activity. If it will be approved, of course, we'll have some sort of activity that you will do something and apply the different project management tools. Okay, so now without further ado, let me share my screen and let's start screen 2. Okay, so can I get that confirmation that everyone can see my screen? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now let's proceed with project implementation. So let's talk about me. Again, I'm in Poland. So those who recited, remember guys, next week, I encourage you to, again, recite for the recap, for the icebreaker, so that you earn some points. Hey, I'm in Poland, Erwin. You owe me a treat. And then I will give you a tour around here. Okay? So now, let's continue. Um, let's continue our discussion about Joy Joy. No? Do you recall that she created an NSTP proposal for literacy training service for her community? It got approved. Yay! What will she do next? That's the common problem. You wanted to do something. It gets approved. What's next? So now, what's next after proposal? We have to remember these things. Okay. Um, First is we'll initiate, we'll do planning, we'll do monitoring and control, we'll do execute. It goes back and forth. If there's some problem, we go back to planning. If there's some change request, and then we close the project. Again, guys, this is very important. If there's something I want you to remember at the end of the day, this is one of those. Okay. In PMP, we call this as process groups. Okay. So again, let's proceed with initiate. Why? Why? We're going to create the project charter. We're going to identify the different stakeholders. Why are we going to create this project? We'll proceed with planning. What we will do? How are we going to do that? And then, of course, we will start the execution. We will monitor and control. What's happening on a daily basis. You're checking what's happening with the project. Remember, we are project implementation. So you don't want to be surprised at the very end of the day that at the end of the project's timeline, you will realize, the project is only 50% done. So it's we don't want that. The project is only 50% done. That's a big problem. We don't want that to happen. So it's important that you're doing proper monitoring and control. And lastly, we do closing. No? In Tagalog, sa mga nanditong ayaw ng closure, hindi pwede sa project. Ang project dapat may closure. Okay? So, walang ghosting sa project. You need closure. Okay. Now, what are the 10 different knowledge areas? Again, if there's 2 things I want you to remember at the end of today's session, it's this one: initiate, planning, executing, monitoring and control, closing, and this one: the 10 knowledge areas. So, Erwin, what does it mean? 10 knowledge areas. So, let me walk you through. Let's start by scope. Okay. Remember Joy. She's doing let's go back. She's doing she has created a proposal for literacy training service. Okay. Literacy training service. What will be the scope? What will be the scope of that? You have to be clear. Remember, from the proposal, maybe it's high level. From the season 1, we talked about proposal, maybe it's high level. This time around, you have to make sure that the scope is really clear. Let me give you some example. Maybe from the proposal, we have some project, and then the proposal is just creating 10 pieces blueberry cheesecake. Okay, for those who's fan of blueberry cheesecake. But in the scope, maybe you will be very much more detailed. What's the size of the blueberry cheesecake? It's still 10 pieces, but what's the size? How many? What's the ratio of the blueberry versus something? How thick is it? Uh, you know, from the scope, it will be clear. Let me give you another example. Maybe in the project proposal, we will just build a one-story house. But what will be the scope? Is it just building the house, or do we have to clear the place before building the house, or what will be the exact scope? It should be clear. Second is the schedule. Once you have identified the scope, you will come up with schedule. Let's go to building the house, diba? You're already clear. One-story house, one bedroom, and this is the how the kitchen should look like. The next step would be creating the schedule. You have to by the way, for next for season 3, we will do something, some Gantt chart. Okay, so you will learn all the tools. But for today, my humble request, please, is to remember this 10 and the other 5 process groups. But anyway, schedule, no? You have the schedule. Kailangan from the scope, you have to identify the schedule that you will do, right? Which will go first? How long will it take? After that, what should you do? You come up with a schedule. And from that, you will be clear with the cost. How much will it cost? Remember, from the project, from the project, what do you call that? From the project proposal, you have high level cost. Maybe it's 1 million pesos. But as the scope is identified, as the schedule is broken down, you realize that the cost, hey, we need 1.2 million. And you have to identify the quality. Okay, the quality. Remember, if we don't want to sacrifice quality, if we're building a house, we have agreed the level of quality we want for the house. We also have the resources. Who will do that? How will you get the resources? Right? Those people who will basically build the house. Communication. Every day you have to communicate. Hey, there's a typhoon. We don't have work today. Hey, Mr. X got sick. Who can step up? Communicate to the owners. Remember, you are the project manager. So you have sponsors. It can be your professor. It can be the one who's asking you to build the house. You have to communicate and provide update on a regular basis. Right? Your sponsor or teacher or professor doesn't want to be surprised that at the end of the day, it didn't work. We don't want that. So communication is key. Okay? To be honest, as project manager, 60 to 80% of the time you're communicating, meeting, discussing one-on-one, talking to someone about the progress, all those things. And we have to consider the risk. Okay, what are the different risks? Like, for example, you're building a house. Someone can get injured, or there could be a typhoon. Remember, if it's not yet fully cemented and then the cement is outside, there's a typhoon, most likely it will be flown away. No, there will be also some flood. There could be a flood, or um, yeah, COVID, or a lot of things. Risk. Okay, even the prices of the goods might be, those are risks. The prices of the commodity might suddenly shoot up, and then your cost, you will be over budget. As project manager, that's important for you to check. Procurement, where are you going to buy all those stuff? Um, Maybe that's the responsibility of the NSTP school. You will just request, but procurement is basically getting what you need. If you're going to give away notebook, if you're going to, if you need a projector, if you need a whiteboard, if you need whatever activity for their exercise, you need to check procurement. And lastly, stakeholders. You have to make sure your stakeholders are happy. If it's If you're building a house, your stakeholders would be the owner, your neighbor. Remember, if your neighbors start complaining that, hey, they're too noisy, if it's a subdivision, the guard might just ask you to, hey, stop constructing. It's too busy for the neighbor. I receive complaints. Stakeholder. You need the permit from the subdivision. That's stakeholder. Government. All of those are your stakeholders. And the most important thing is integration. All of the 9 knowledge areas that I have discussed, you have to integrate them all as one, which is really, really, really important. So I hope you're getting the picture. Again, guys, my humble request, okay, if you will go out of the day, finish this webinar, I hope you remember that a project goes through the following phases. You initiate, you plan in depth. Initiate is the part where, we just we we understand the high level. Uh, Create the project charter, you initiate. Okay, you do the kickoff, if ever. Initial kickoff. And then we do planning with the core team only, with the core team. Uh, to come up with the project charter and then planning. Okay, and then you execute, monitor, and then you close. And then if you will remember 10 knowledge areas, remember as project manager, your eyes should look upon these things. The scope. Okay, maybe they have requested for a blueberry cheesecake and then they're adding, add a little bit strawberry or add a little bit apple. Wait, that's not part of the scope. We said it's blueberry cheesecake or a house. They ask you to build a house, but eventually they ask you, how about removing the garden also? Wait, that's not part of the scope. We agreed that it's only the house. You have to watch out for. Or else, guys, if the scope gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, your project will not finish and you will not succeed as a project manager. Look at the schedule. Are they on track? Look at the cost. Are we on budget? Or, oh no, I only have 1,000 pesos left. Look at the quality. Is it what we want? Is it the thickness that we want? Is it the kind of materials that we want? Look at the resources. Are they motivated? Are they happy? Look at the communication. Are you able to communicate that this road will be closed because you will have you communicated to others, to your neighbors that you will construct and something? Have you managed the risk? Are you always looking at the risk? We should be proactive. We should always look at what could go wrong. Okay, we should have you are you sure that the materials that you ordered will arrive on time? The things that you need, procurement. And lastly, stakeholders, which is you make sure that all your stakeholders are happy and engaged, or else they will not get you in the next project. It's your brand as a project manager. Were you able to keep them engaged? Okay, so please remember this 10 and the other one. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Faith will ask you next, but next on our season 3, maybe Faith will ask you again. You owe a ticket for a tour in Poland. Not a plane ticket. It's too expensive. Okay, just a tour. I'll show you around Poland. Okay. Anyway, let's start with the initiate. No. Um, Remember the 5 process groups that I told you: initiate, planning, executing, monitoring, control, and closing. Let's start with initiate. Okay, for initiate, remember the following. Just double check. Does your initial proposal contains the following? Do you have the title? Building of the house. Start date, December 1. End date, maybe June 30, 2023. Who's the project manager? Who's the sponsor? Is it Professor Nico? Is it Professor Dennis? Is it who else? Who is it? Who is your sponsor? Is it what's your high level scope and deliverables? What have you agreed? Okay, did you agree? Did you agree a kind of what do you call that? Did you agree uh without swimming pool or with swimming pool or garden, anything? The risk. How much is your initial budget? At first, you will agree, hey, it's for this house, it's 2 million. Why did you say 2 million? Because I have built a similar house which costs around 1.8. So please budget 2 million. We don't just give random numbers, no? Okay, so we have schedule. Remember? Uh, we have a schedule and milestone. Like we agreed it's December until June, right? So we have a milestone. Maybe by end of January, the foundation and the walls are okay. By this time, we'll start the roofing. Then we'll do the windows, doors. We'll do the electricals, whatever. But you have the milestones done. That's the time where you will check, hey, remember this Friday, we should complete this. You will check. And of course, do you already have the team member? Do you already have your team member? Who will be your team member? Who will be your core team member? Okay. So in the initiate part, this part, remember, it's 5 process group and 10 knowledge areas. Okay. Two things I want you to remember, those two. So this information, once you have this, it can serve as your project charter. We will now proceed with planning. Okay. Remember, 5 steps lang gagawin natin. 5 steps. Initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, control, and closing. Let's now go to planning. So for planning, we'll do the following. Number 1, from the scope. Again, you collect the requirements. You talk to the owner. If it's building a house, what do you really want? And then, what do you want? I want 1 bedroom. I want this kitchen. The kitchen should be big. I want 2 toilets, separate toilet from the bath, from the shower area. I want this. I want this. I want this. You collect the requirements, and then you define a scope. And then we will create a work breakdown structure. Maybe you will ask, Sir Erwin, what is a work breakdown structure? Watch season 3 this Friday. You will know about what is a work breakdown structure, and we will do that too. Once you have created the work breakdown structure, we'll proceed with the schedule. Based from the activities you have identified in the work breakdown structure, for example, uh, let's say, you're organizing an event, right? Your work breakdown structure can be venue, can be guest, can be program, can be food. You will divide it. And then from the activities in the work breakdown structure, you will sequence the activities, estimate the duration, and develop the schedule. Guest, get the guest list from the what do you call it, birthday celebrant, for example. Um, then you will contact, create the invitation, send the invitation, contact. You will define the activities in each of the work breakdown structure. And then from there, you will create a Gantt chart. Uh, uh, Sir Erwin, what is a Gantt chart? Okay, attend season 3. You will hear about Gantt chart. Okay, this coming Friday. And then we determine the critical path. We know the critical path determines the entire duration of your project. What else do you do in planning? No, we identify the cost. Based from the things you need to do, we estimate a cost, and then we will identify this is our budget, 1 million. You determine your quality standards. Remember, these things that I'm telling you about are the knowledge areas. Okay? We're doing it during planning. So remember, guys, 2 things I want you to remember: the process group and the knowledge areas. Okay? Next, we'll also talk about the quality. Okay, so quality. This overview that what I'm teaching you is coming from PMI, Project Management Institute. No, I'm a globally certified project manager. So these things that I'm teaching you are coming from there. So next, remember, area number 4 is about quality. So you have to determine the quality level of quality. It should withstand, I don't know, earthquake one, a level one, or it should, there's a certain identified quality, the thickness, okay, etc. Resources. You have to know your people who will do that, who will do what, no? And then you will finalize the team charter with the roles and responsibility. This is your responsibility. This is your task. For example, you're organizing an event, right? You gather resources. Hey, you're in charge of the guest. Hey, you're in charge of the venue. Hey, you're in charge of the program. Remember, you divide it, right? So you need to have resources who will be in charge of which one. Next, let's talk about communication and stakeholders. You have to make sure that you really communicate properly to the team internally. You communicate to the outside, to your sponsor, to other key people. You have to engage the stakeholders. You have to know all your stakeholders. You communicate with them, you engage with them, you get their heart. See, you get their heart. You have to know that they're still into your project. They're really looking forward. It's not like, hey, whenever Erwin is leading, it sucks. It's bad. No. So anyway, we don't want that. We want our stakeholders to trust us, to believe in us. So you have to keep them engaged. You might be asking, Erwin, what do we do if we realize one stakeholder is not engaged? I meet with that stakeholder. I try to understand his or her side and try to win her back, him or her back to the project. Next, we'll talk about risk. No, there are a lot of risks. If you're planning to visit me, for example, Erwin, I wanted to claim the tour you mentioned within Wroclaw area. We pronounce that as Wrocław. No, the Wroclaw, it's Wrocław. You won't believe it, but believe me, that's how they pronounce it. So you decide, hey, Erwin, I will visit you. Show me around. Sure. What are the risks? You might there might be some you might miss the plane, you might lose your passport, you might uh you might have, we don't want some accident, minor scratch, or you might all those risks. We plan that ahead. We prioritize the risk and come up with action. By the way, I want to inspire you again. If you will attend this Friday on our season 3, I will teach you qualitative risk analysis. Okay, so that's one of the tools. Okay, next one. We'll start with the procurement. Of course, you start buying things. Hey, I want flowers. I buy this. I buy this. I buy this. I buy cement. I buy whatever I buy. You start planning your strategy. And lastly, most importantly, is the integration. You integrate everything. You shouldn't just look at one thing. You're trying to how do I define a project manager? In the if you're watching an orchestra, someone is playing, I forgot the name, someone with a stick, trying to guide the people playing. uh you know that's you. You're trying to integrate everything, all these knowledge areas. You're trying to balance them. That's you. It's very important to integrate everything. Okay, and then we do the official project kickoff meeting, because the first one is just initial for the core team. Okay, for the team who will do all those planning, etc. Okay, I hope you're with me. We are now on the third part, which is execution. Okay, let me check. Conductor, thank you so much. Clarissa and Faith. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. In Polish, uh, thank you is dziękuję. Okay, so now, execution. No, we are now after initiation, planning. We are now executing. We have to execute according to plan. We plan in depth. Look at our plans a while ago. We talked about the different knowledge areas. Now we will start doing the action. After the kickoff, the action begins. You hire your people, you start ordering. Remember, from the um, from the planning part, we have our strategy. on the procurement, what you will order, when. But execution, you start ordering. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. By when? By when? We don't want. If you're organizing a debut, you don't want everything to be delivered all at once. No, we want them delivered at certain period of time. Even in constructing a house, you order cement, you order a door. You don't want everything to be delivered. Where will you put it? We want it delivered on a certain period of time. You will call and strategize that. We execute according to plan. We're now on the third. We'll proceed on the fourth one. The fourth one is about monitoring and control. This is the crucial part. Aside from planning, as project manager, you spend a lot of time monitoring. Okay, be careful. Now be careful. Let me give you some example. You're building a you're building a house, no? And then suddenly you as a project manager is not in the construction site, and then the owner comes, no? Hey, I think I don't want the orange color. Can you change that to green? Wait, they shouldn't just agree. Hey, get the green paint. Let's do that. That's not part of the plan. That's outside the scope. You have to control that. Any change should go through you. Perform correct change control. Look at the last part. Hey, we agreed that in this event you will have someone perform dancing. Can they sing? Can you ask them to sing also? Wait, that's not part of the scope. We only agreed. You don't say yes. You shouldn't be a yes man. You should you should control the scope, because any changes in the scope will affect the schedule. Okay. Remember, they already painted everything orange and then the owner wanted green. It will affect the schedule because that person has to redo the paint and then everything gets delayed. We don't want that. We control the cost. No, biglang sinabi, let's add this, let's add this, let's add this. Oh no, it will increase the cost. Quality, you have to control and check, do quality checkpoint. You have to control the resources. If someone gets sick, if this happens to this person, if this one, you have to control them. You have to control the procurement. You have to contact, hey, remember the delivery is tomorrow. Will you be able to deliver them? Um, this is still missing or whatever. You plan that. You manage the communication. Non-stop. Communicate. Hey, what's the progress of this one? Hey, can I see this one? Hey, have you finished this? Uh, talk to outside your team, to the stakeholders, to your sponsor, to the owner, to the debutant, to customer. Talk to them. Hey, this is the progress. This is okay. Hey, we are a little bit delayed, because you communicate. You manage risk. Remember, you have identified a lot of risk. There will be signs, triggers. Hey, this risk could happen. Let me give you some example. You're organizing a garden wedding. In the planning stage, during the risk management knowledge areas, you've identified it might rain. What will you do if it rains? During this monitoring and control, because, hey, according to the weather, it will rain today. And then it's really cloudy. So you have to know what you will do, right? Okay, 10 minutes left. Okay, we're right on time. So you have to manage the risk. You manage the stakeholders. Again, keep them happy, keep them pleased with your project. Keep them satisfied. If they're not happy, you have to manage that, or else they will not give you project in the future. And as I've told you at the beginning, perform correct change control. Okay. And lastly, closure. Now, we're almost done. Closure. Maybe we have the term ghosting, no? Ayaw natin ng ghosting. Ang maganda sa project, may closure. Okay. Hindi iniiwan sa ere. So when we say closure, no? How do you close the project? Confirm, is it done? Close the procurement. Lahat ng in-orderan nyo, pay them. Those suppliers you ordered stuff, pay them. You will gain final acceptance. Hey, this is the house. I turn it over to you. I want you to survey, to check everything. Is it good according to plan? Yes, please sign this document, accept. That's done. Do the survey. Remember this, guys. Usually after closing, they don't want to get survey and feedback. No, that's for your growth as a project manager. You ask them, hey, can you give me feedback? You know what? When I was young, I don't want feedback. I feel bad. But when I start to become mature, when I start working in the corporate, I love feedback because that feedback makes you a better person. So do a survey. Get feedback. Hey, anonymously, send them some survey link. They will answer. Grow from it. Do a retrospective. Again, last advertisement, if you will join season 3, I will teach you how to do a retrospective. Postmortem. We call that project postmortem. Retrospective, it means looking back. What we did wrong, what we did right, how can we improve, right? If you have the retrospective from the feedback and the survey, wow, you are growing. You are growing as a project manager. And complete the final performance reporting. I don't know if you have to report that to your professor or you have to report that to someone else, but you have to complete the final reporting. And then all of this, you archive that. Those project records, lesson learned, all of this, you archive that. Your plans, schedule, whatever. So to summarize, no, to summarize, I think I'm just right on time. Okay. I want you to keep in mind the 10 knowledge areas. Always. If you were asked to manage a project, I want you to write down the 10 knowledge areas. Remember to always look at it. Is the scope okay? Is the schedule, procurement okay? Look at it. Always look at it. You have to master that because that's how project really moves. These project knowledge areas are important. And then remember the process group. Of course, you go from initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, control, and closing. It will help you a lot not to forget key parts of the project. Okay, so anyone who can volunteer, just one, to unmute yourself and dictate to me those 10 knowledge areas and process group. Anyone? And then you can PM me your number. I'll send you a GCash later. Anyone?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Sir Vic. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Thank
Once
you. Sige
again, good
nga po, Sir
afternoon
Vic.
po. So here
Yes.
are the
Good
10
afternoon.
knowledge. Yes po. Here are the 10 knowledge areas po that you've discussed earlier.
Okay.
So first one is integration po.
Okay.
Second, scope. Third po,
Okay.
schedule.
Okay.
Then fourth, costs.
Cost.
Then fifth po is quality.
Quality. Tama.
Then 6 is resource.
Resource.
7, communication.
Communication.
Then 8 po is risk.
Risk.
Then 9 po is procurement. And lastly po,
Procurement.
stakeholder po. Ang
Yes.
stakeholder.
Nakuha niya. Last
Yes
pa.
po.
Process group. Yung process group na 5. Ano yung flow ng project?
Sige po.
Initiating.
Wait lang po yung notes ko po.
Sige. It's okay. No
Okay po.
worries. No
Initiating
worries.
po. Then planning.
Okay.
Then po executing. Then monitoring and
Okay.
controlling. And then po
Okay.
closing po. Lastly is po
And
yung
then
closing.
closing.
Apa.
Yes. Please PM me your number. I will send you a
Sige po,
GCash.
sir.
Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
sir.
listening. So
Thank you
I
po.
wanted to close with thank you so much. Appreciate it, Sir Vic. So thank you. Again, if you wanted to connect with me, please connect with me via LinkedIn. I hope you learned something. No? Again, gusto ko lang i-close yung story natin. Sa season 1, it's about proposal. You have an idea. How will you propose? Season 2 is about your proposal is approved. What will you do? These are the things you need to do. These are the things you need to watch out for. Season 3 is about tools. How do you create the work breakdown structure? How do you I just told you about these things, but how do you apply them? Qualitative risk analysis, project postmortem or lesson learned or retrospective, or all those things. I hope you're seeing the big picture. You cannot just attend one without looking at the other, or else you will really miss the whole picture. So again, I really thank you. I'm very honored for this opportunity to share. And I hope I can meet some of you in person someday. Again, thank you. Dziękuję.
Thank you so much, Sir Erwin. What I learned from your talk, sir, is that project implementation is about making sure that we are being faithful to our project plans and also assessing what risks we may have and communicating to our stakeholders and to everyone who's involved in our project. So thank you so much po talaga,
I
sir.
like that, Faith. Send me your number also. You have GCash later.
Oh, wow. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay po. And now we would like to present you with our certificate of appreciation. Thank you so much, Sir Erwin. Because you came back and taught us for season 2, and on Friday we will be seeing you again for season 3, and we are looking forward to learning more about the tools that we can use for project management. Thank you so much. Can we give a big round of applause for Sir Erwin? We can use our reactions. Okay, thank you so much po. And also again, thank you Sir Vic for always being very participative. Okay.
Yes, sobrang na-appreciate ko. Kasi guys, to be honest, ang mahirap sa online is parang computer lang kaharap mo. Tsaka yung
Yeah.
tissue paper kung nakarolyo dyan sa harap. Alam niyo yan? But I really appreciate the engagement. Yun yung hinahanap, yun yung nakakamiss. But thank you so much.
Yes. Also, to have more engagements, before we proceed to our next presenter, we will have another icebreaker. Kanina nagpamigay si Sir Vic ng sarili niyang papremyo, pero syempre meron din papremyo ang ating NSTP Diliman. So while others are having a quick break, let's have an icebreaker if you can still stay in your seat or wherever you are. Okay, same mechanics with our icebreaker kanina. Turn on your camera so I can see you and raise your hand. And the first one to raise their hand will have a chance to answer our question. Syempre, dapat iba naman. Dapat hindi naman si Sir Vic kasi madami na siyang prizes. Pinapakyaw niya na. Okay, okay, for the YouTube live participants, comment down your answers or maybe the first one or the second one. Kung yung nanalo na kanina ay maging first ulit ngayon, we will pick you from the comments and you will receive our NSTP freebie. So here's our question. From the from the 10 knowledge areas that were discussed by Sir Erwin, can you pick one and discuss shortly what that how that looks like in a project that you are currently in? For sure, lahat tayo dito may mga project tayo. So, habang naghihintay tayo, ako muna siguro example. I am a host but also I am a production manager for shoots, for podcasts. So I would like to discuss example. Risks. Ayan. Kailangan alam namin yung weather, lagi namin tinitignan sa weather forecast kung maulan ba doon, gaano kaulan, babagyo ba. And we can't be too optimistic about things. Kailangan realistic tayo doon. Kung darating ba yung pagkain on time, pag dumating ba yung pagkain, panis na ba yun by that time? Sino ang pescatarian, sino ang vegetarian? Lahat yon kailangan nating isipin. So that's
Good point
risk
yan ha,
analysis
Faith.
for me.
Good point yan, Faith. Kunyari, merong allergic sa ganito, right?
Mhm.
Mag-organize ka ng event. You have to watch out. Baka allergic siya sa peanuts, tapos hindi nyo na-inform. Or isa rin yung risk. Paano kung meron palang bago lang, doon lang naging allergic sa peanuts. Dapat
Mhm.
meron kang medical team. Alam niyo yun?
Yeah.
Yes.
Medical team or medical kit or number to the nearest hospitals. Parang minsan nga isipin mo talaga, ano yung worst case scenario? Kailangan lagi kang may backup for everything. So, who else can discuss another knowledge area and how it can apply in your current project or your future projects? Sige, mamimili na ako dito Okay. Okay. Who can we ask? Someone not from UP Diliman. This will be a random turo. Okay. How about a girl? How about Miss Marisa Rulian? Are you there, Miss Marisa? Pwede ba mag-on lang tayo ng camera natin, even for a while, tayong lahat? Kung kaya. Para makita naman natin ang yung smiling faces.
Oo
I
nga,
know,
wala bang group picture taking?
maya-maya pa po eh. Sino pa po ba ang... thank you so much sa pagbubukas po ng camera ninyo. Okay. Sino pa? Okay, ayoko baka matawag ko yung speakers natin kasi nagbukas sila ng camera nila. Okay, let's try Miss Jonalyn. Hello po, Miss Jonalyn.
Faith.
Hello.
Siguro po from the 10 knowledge areas, the most important po sa akin, communication. Kasi kunyari kahit po nakaschedule siya, kahit okay yung cost nyo, okay yung budget nyo, okay yung na-check nyo yung risk and scope, pero hindi kayo nagko-communicate ng kasama mo, tapos biglang may nangyari somewhere, hindi kayo sinabihan, wala din lahat.
That's very true, Miss Jonalyn. Thank you so much for participating. Our tech team will message you on how you can get our freebies.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much po, Miss Jonalyn. I agree with that po. No? We have to sometimes over-communicate kasi we can't always assume na naintindihan na ng ibang mga tao yung gusto nating sabihin. Okay, so that ends our icebreaker. Thank you for turning on your camera. Just some reminders. Please do not forget to like the NSTP Diliman office Facebook page and subscribe to our official YouTube channel, NSTP Diliman Office. Ayun. Again, thank you so much for everyone who tried to answer our questions. Now it's time to get to know our second speaker or our second presenter. He's the current NSTP Director of UP Visayas and an Associate Professor in Business Management from the College of Management in UPV. Associate Professor Samson finished his Master's in Management in UPV and Certificate of Training Development in Ateneo de Manila University. He teaches marketing, entrepreneurship, strategic planning, and human and organizational development. He has also served as the former director of the Office of Student Affairs and Office of Extension and Continuing Education, former chief of Human Resource and Development Office in UPV. Associate Professor Nats values friendship and relationships and pursues work-life balance. That's also my dream, to pursue work-life balance. So now let us all welcome by giving a heart or applause emoji to our second speaker, Associate Professor Nathaniel Samson. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Faith. Good afternoon na rin kay Sir Erwin. And kung sa Iloilo, maayong hapon sa atong tanan. Very obedient ako, no? The instruction said, give a few comments on the presentation of Sir Erwin. Siguro this is for emphasis na lang, sir, because I fully agree with the points. One is you called it being proactive, that would be anticipating change. Kasi plansado lahat, nasabi na, whether ba absent si mayor, etc., etc. So we just have to be ready. Therefore, making contingency plans and allowing our students, implementers, certain degree of flexibility. Kasi na-approve natin yung plan, suddenly there are constraints as to resources, timing, etc. They need not have to look for us for them to implement minor things. They can be allowed flexibility. And I fully agree on this risk assessment and management, especially at this time, very difficult to plan. Especially during the COVID period, they said, of what need is that planning thing? Wala nang planning. I heard that from Mr. Razon, the billionaire. Sabi niya walang planning dahil everything is fluid. Well, we're glad that things have normalized. But we make assessment, risk assessment for health, security, and of course the COVID related things. Especially sa amin, we handle freshmen, freshies for NSTP. We call it in Ilonggo arisgada. Arisgado. Ibig sabihin, tuloy lang ang laban. They don't get to see or anticipate situations. They want projects implemented, etc. And very well said ni Ma'am Jonalyn and emphasized rin ni Sir Erwin yung sinabi niyang coordination with all parties concerned. Having said that, let me now share my screen for the presentation. Can it be seen now, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll try to manage the time within the one allotted. I start by talking about the context by which projects were implemented, and that is immediately the past semester. So as experienced by many, if not all, our students are geographically dispersed. Some of them are clustered in one area, in our case, Panay, but two members in the group may come from Luzon, as far as Puerto Princesa or different places. And projects implemented in the past year was during the COVID area where alert levels were changing. At one time, it will be 1. At another time, it will be 5. So things are very uncertain in the whole country and would differ in different municipalities and the LGU. Within the UP system, the context is we were told to do blended mode already, face-to-face and online, while NSTP was told to be online still. There really are students who insist that they do face-to-face activities. Kasi tinatanong kami, ang ganda ng project namin, kinonceptualize namin, how can we effectively and satisfactorily implement this if we are not allowed kahit na limited lang or 1 day, 2 days lang to implement it? Or even far back to meet with their classmates. And also, it is at this time, past year, election season yon. So, influenced sila by the activities of the barangay captain, the mayor, and so on. Because most of the projects undertaken by our students in UP Visayas are community projects. Quickly, I don't know, I missed the panganod session, but I hope I'm not emphasizing the points raised already. We require students to have a module on community development. Module on community development allow them to understand the concepts of the community, the concept of development, and the concept of community development. Kasi these are freshmen, fresh out of senior high. They might not have had exposure into these activities. So we thought bibigyan sila namin ng konting knowledge, no, along this area. Also, it is in this module that they now form their teams. The teams that will be working on the different projects that will be carried out. Also, with the team, they initially identify one community or alternative communities that can be the locale or the venue for their undertaking or their project. Nothing is final yet as to the locale, only that team membership so that familiarization are already made. So these things we take up in this first module. Then we also ask them to have a module on community needs assessment. In the community needs assessment, as is shown here, we simply would want to know the demographics of their identified local or community. Characteristics ba in household income and so on and so forth, no? And more importantly, the perceived needs and concerns of the community. We emphasize perceived because the need should not be the need of the student to implement as a requirement, but rather realistically what the community needs, or at least perceive to have as their needs. So that's module, the second module under the specific, the second module that we have in their project implementation. Then we ask them to summarize the results of their needs assessment survey in the community where they conducted this into a community needs assessment results form. The form simply summarizes the issues and concerns they have identified with brief description and justification. One note lang, we ask the students to prioritize. Kasi ang dami-dami. Sabi nila, we need clean water, we need health facilities, ang dami. So now the students ask the community also, or their respondents, to prioritize the concerns or the issues that they have identified. Now, the survey, community needs assessment survey, and the summary that they will be making allow them na to make a very simple project proposal. And this is the first semester end requirement that we ask our students to have in NSTP 1. And expected to contain the following. Not much details yet, because the way we implement it here, a proposal based on a needs assessment is submitted as a final requirement in NSTP 1, and in NSTP 2, the students with their instructors get to review or refine these proposals, finalize them, and have them approved by their instructors, and then we follow the different steps that Sir Erwin earlier mentioned to plan for its implementation. And that happens in the second semester. Now, let me share with you some projects that the students have undertaken last semester. And maybe simultaneously, I do give some comments, call it tips, suggestions on how students can better, if not improve their project implementation. This is a project identified by the students, which they labeled as rehabilitation of Banica. That's a barangay in Rojas City, Capiz, Banica Child Development Center. Quickly, there's a daycare center, but what's supposed to be recreational facilities like the simple swing, wala yatang slide, or the area where students would play, the young kids would play, wala na. It's just the classroom that the teacher used. So the students thought, why don't we do something about this and make a proposal, no? By the way, based on the community needs assessment, it is the students who, given their creative ideas and maybe capacity for innovation, na nagko-conceptualize. That must have been emphasized in the webinar on panganod. No? Panganod. Panganod is an Ilonggo term. Yeah? OBRA din is Ilonggo, Faith? Ilonggo ba?
Meron po Ilonggo, meron pong Ilocano, may Tagalog po.
Okay. Tinatanong ko lang si Faith because she looks very serious now. So it's barangay Banica, the Child Development Center. They started painting the walls. They started soliciting donations in cash and in kind in the form of paint, and on their own started painting the walls. They invited artists from an organization in a state university in the area, in Capiz, who willingly expressed their desire to be of help. So, iba naman talaga kasi if they would artisto, so they would have talents, etc., to make things better than what the students can conceptualize. And this is how it is now. They have, I don't know whether we call it rehabilitated, refurbished, the place. The colored tires there were the provisions of the students. They have repaired the swing, which the students in that place now get to enjoy having. Okay. Now, I have a quick comment when I did an evaluation of this project. The students on their own, kasi tingin ko medyo significant ang expense nila dito sa paint lang, because we insist that they minimize expenses and not take it from their pocket kasi parents would complain. So they did solicitations, online solicitations, or nagvi-visit talaga. In this case, paints were donated. A quick comment here, which I think would be our concern, and I don't know whether some students are joining us here. I get to check the letters drafted by the students. I'm sorry. Kasi they write letters to the school superintendent, to the barangay captain, and eventually the mayor. red tape to undertake the project. And the first draft I saw, parang memorandum lang sa mayor. Sabi ko, friends ba kayo ng mayor? Can you redraft this? And so on. So I thought that maybe even the kind of communication that they would have would have to be reviewed so that our students can be properly guided. They solicit, they communicate in the name of NSTP program of the university. So I guess dapat tama naman yung mga letters and communications na sinusulat nila. The second project, tawag nila Balik Edu Action. Literacy to, no? Literacy, but the pictures that you will be literacy, but that you will be seeing is the culminating activity yata where they distributed na school gamit, school supplies, turnover of donation to a community. Yun. What is interesting about this project is the transparency report that they did. Significant amount of solicitation, the amount that they spent, then that balance amount, at least naka-report for their donors and the beneficiaries. The third one is Project Behind Bars. They related, and this happened, by the way, in Digos, Davao, del Sur ata. Then they coordinated with the police station to provide some provisions to the inmates in a police station. And although prior to that, as another activity, they had a forum addressed to the youth on active citizenship and human rights education. So they had it at one time. They had a speaker. I wouldn't know who this is, but the other one is from the police station that eventually Ata became their partner when they did their donation in Digos. So there also, they have their transparency report. And the last is a video, a 2-minute video. I hope you'll bear with us, with the IP community in Barangay Bulok, San Joaquin. This is a southern town, the last town of Iloilo before Antique. The student or the group Okay, I'll end it there. thoughts na lang. I'm very conscious of the time. Closing thoughts. I would say in all of these projects, it is important that, I reiterate, we allow certain flexibility for the students given the conditions prevailing in the environment. Trust in students' capacity to be creative and innovative in terms of a project, and our role as instructors would just be to guide them. And of course, that includes making sure that they are safe, not only in terms of health issues, but also in security concerns as they get to be deployed in the communities where they are assigned. One last idea. If we have a group, I mentioned earlier, a cluster, let's say a group of 6, 4 members are in Panay, then 2, one is in Cavite, and the other one is, let's say, in Puerto Princesa. The creative way they did was pub materials as well as fundraising, online solicitations are done by those from Puerto Princesa and Cavite. And the work on the ground are done by those that can meet together face to face and implement it also together because they come from one geographical area. So I charge it to their own creativity to cope with the situation. Again, thank you very much and mahayong hapon sa inyo tanan.
Thank you so much to Associate Professor Nathaniel Samson. Actually, sir, the reason why I was very serious kanina, nagno-notes po ako sa mga sinasabi ninyo. What really struck me was you actually give thought to building relationships even inside the groups of the students. You said you create groups earlier during the first module para may familiarization na po sila agad. And another thing from your talk that I learned is we can ask the community or the respondents to actually prioritize what their needs are po. Just a funny story, sir. Meron po kasi kaming project before sa youth namin sa church before para mamimigay ng packs for students for their review sa Ateneo tsaka sa UP. So, nung nalaman ng mga UP na ang ibibigay sa Ateneo ay sneakers, ganyan. As in sneaker bars, yung chocolate. Tapos yung sa UP naman ay chocolate lang. Pero dahil po actually yun, sa assessment, kasi nagtanong kami kung ano yung gusto nilang chocolates or snacks. Ang sinabi ng UP chocolate, sinabi ng Ateneo, sneakers. Kaya yun po yung naibigay sa kanila. Wala
Can you
naman.
explain to me what that means, Faith? Wala. Biro lang.
It means po minsan nahihiya po yung mga UP students sa brand. Tapos naiinggit kapag pagka nabigay yung gusto ng iba.
Faith, if I may add lang, no? Because students would do different things and different places, and in fairness to everybody, we include peer evaluation. They get to evaluate involvement and participation of each other. Kahit maliit lang, ini-input namin yan sa kanilang final evaluation. Thank you. Yun lang.
Thank you, sir. So, Sir Nats, for your presentation, we would like again to present you with our certificate of appreciation. So let's appreciate Sir Nats and give him a heart emoji. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for spending your time with us and sharing your knowledge to us po.
Thank you.
Again, thank you po. Again, a reminder to our participants on Zoom and YouTube Live. If you have any questions or comments about the presentation, you can use the chat box on YouTube or the question and answer button here on Zoom. We will collect all your questions, but we will prioritize the registration form questions that we got later on after our last presenter. So now, for our last presenter, we are with Assistant Professor Olivia Sicam from the UP Diliman College of Architecture. Of course, she is an architect, a doctoral, and also a doctoral researcher. She is also the National Service Training Program or NSTP Coordinator. She teaches and conducts research at the intersection of the phenomenology of space and place, space syntax, solid waste management, and service learning to address the socio-spatial needs of urban poor communities. So let's welcome our guest by giving her heart emojis. Welcome, Assistant Professor Olivia Sicam. Hi, ma'am. Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Faye. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, medyo kinakabahan ako kasi lalo na nung nag-lecture si Sir Erwin, yung mga steps na binigay niya, talagang inisip ko, nasama kaya namin or yan ba yung ginawa namin? So, sige. So, I'll share screen. Wait lang. Ng aming see what's our key. Yan. So, I'll start. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sicam, and I am the NSTP Coordinator of the UP College of Architecture. Wait lang. What I'll be presenting today are the projects of CWAT's Archi from the academic year 2021 to 2022. So just the past academic year. In this presentation, I'll start with who we are, then introduce our partners, identify our objectives, show how we prepared for our community projects, then walk you through how we implemented our goals, and then present our class outputs. So, first, I'll start with who we are. We are NSTP Archi, Landscape Architecture Enhancement of Communities. We provide technical assistance in community architecture and landscape architecture projects in the form of manuals, conceptual drawings, and basic technical drawings to help communities with small-scale grassroots projects. So we provide training manuals for self-implementation. We also provide conceptual architectural drawings that are used to help communities find support and funding from other institutions. In the past, before the pandemic, we also developed basic landscape architecture technical drawings and planting plans for groundskeeping and urban gardening activities. So this was our team for 2 academic years, yung pandemic years. So in the remote learning platform, our instructors were architect Ana Caraan and landscape architect Charles Darapisa. The projects I'll be showing later are the ones under their classes. This is our current team. So this semester in the remote and blended platform, our instructors are landscape architect Norman Brito and architect Nico Dumas. As for me, I'm an architect, na-mention din ni Faith kanina. So we really combine the 2 disciplines, architecture and landscape architecture in our NSTP program. Our college also has 2 admin support staff, Jundi Batasin and Cindy Pernelos. Finally, our students. So in terms of composition, usually around 60 to 70%, and sometimes 50 to 60% of the students are from the College of Architecture. So they are BS Architecture or B Landscape Architecture majors. And then the rest are from other colleges like the College of Arts and Letters, Fine Arts, Engineering, Human Kinetics, CSSP, Statistics, and others. And though our projects are geared towards the design of the built environment, we emphasize the importance of having a multidisciplinary approach in community work. And we tell our students that everyone has a role, everyone has something to contribute, regardless of major. Okay, so our partners are the Technical Assistance Movement for People and Environment, Inc., or TAMPE Philippines, the Homeless People's Federation of the Philippines, or HPFPI, also the School of Economics, UP School of Economics. Of course, these partnerships are made possible with the support of the NSTP Diliman office under Professor Dennis Kilala. Okay, so here are our partner communities from the National Capital Region. So we have Samahang Bukluran Project or SBPI in Tandansora, also Langyao in Barangay Sukat, Muntinlupa City, and Agaw-Agaw communities in Barangay Poblacion, Muntinlupa City. In Bicol, we have Blessed Saviors Initiative Association in Ginobatan, Albay. In Cebu, we have Lower Tipolo Homeowners Association or LTHI in Mandaue City, Cebu. And finally, in Davao, we have Nalumville in Barangay Balyok, Davao City, and San Juan Seaside Settlers Association or SAJUSA in Matina Aplaya, Davao City. Okay, so our objectives in our community engagement projects as instructors were to link our NSTP students with partner communities, to guide our students in the development of their community projects, and to facilitate and moderate the presentation and turnover of student projects to the community. Sa side naman ng mga estudyante, their objectives were to ascertain the needs of partner communities through proper coordination. Second, to develop training manuals and or design concepts based on the results of FGDs and site conditions. So this is for ARCI, our partner institution, the School of Economics, focused on financial management, fundraising, and marketing. And finally, to present and submit their work to the partner community and NGO. Okay, so this is how we prepared for our community engagement before the start of the semester. Okay, so to achieve our objectives, we first had planning meetings with our partners. So yung School of Economics, TAMPE, and HPFPI. After discussing the number of students enrolled during the semester and identifying the partner communities, we then had another meeting organized by TAMPE with the HPFPI and the Homeowners Association leaders. So yung mga HOA leaders of our partner communities. Okay, so this is how we implemented our projects in CWATS during the semester. Okay, so our partner NGO, TAMPE, presented the community profiles to our students. TAMPE gave an overview of all the communities in a plenary session with architecture and economics students. Since the College of Architecture has around 90 to 100 students per academic year, we divided our students into 10 groups and assigned them to the communities. So these were the community profiles that were presented to the communities, that were presented to the students. Okay, so TAMPE was already able to give us some of the priority needs of the communities. But of course, the students were required to interview the communities then as well as with the coordinators and the instructors kasi minsan nagbabago din kung ano yung mga napapag-usapan with the community. So yan yung this is the one sa Cebu, that the previous slide was yung priority needs of the communities NCR. Ito yung sa Davao. And then in Albay. Okay. Okay, so after this, we organized and had FGDs between partner communities and our students. So this was done for an entire Saturday where we had 1-hour sessions per group and community. So NSTP instructors and coordinators of both ARCI and Econ, TAMPE, and HPFPI were present during all the sessions to guide the interviews and to set realistic goals and expectations between the students and the partner communities. The students then exchanged contact details with the partner NGOs and also their Econ student counterparts, as well as the community leaders, so that they could just coordinate with them during the semester. Okay, so as the students developed their projects, we had periodic consultations where the students were required to prepare progress reports. So why? First, to ensure that the projects of our students were in line with the needs of the communities assigned to them, and also to make sure that they were on track. Second, to provide technical guidance to our students in terms of architecture and landscape architecture design. So since the composition of our classes are mostly second year BS Architecture and B Landscape Architecture students, so students in the early stages of their design and construction courses, plus students from other colleges, mga non-archi majors, we were there as professionals in architecture and landscape architecture to give them technical advice. So we also referred them to other consultants and experts in the college, depending on the project they were undertaking. So this was to ensure the quality and usefulness of the work they would eventually turn over to the communities. Okay, so next, yung culmination of all these activities was the final presentation to the community. So we had this for 2 Saturdays. We had 1.5 hour sessions per group and partner community. Again, NSTP coordinators and instructors, TAMPE officers, and HPFPI representatives were present during all the presentations. The students presented their work, and we had a discussion and Q&A after. The community gave comments and also asked questions. On our part, the instructors and coordinators, as well as the partner NGOs, we also commented on their work to further improve the final outputs that they would turn over to the communities. So after further refinement based on the comments and suggestions of the different stakeholders, our students submitted their work, and we turned these over to the partner NGO for their dissemination to the community. So our partner NGOs, in turn, evaluated their work and sent us their feedback. We also had a post-semester meeting, again, with the entire team. So here are our students' final outputs. So for Samahang Bukluran in Tandang Sora, they made a landscape architecture plan for an urban garden project, and included specifications of the vegetables and other plants to be planted in the garden. And then sa Langyao, Barangay Sukat in Muntinlupa City, the students gave a conceptual design of a light framed structure for a materials recovery facility. For Barangay Poblacion in Muntinlupa City, they gave parang conceptual design for a light frame temporary structure that the community could use to build a community kitchen. For Lower Tipolo Homeowners Association Inc. in Cebu, ang ginawa ng mga estudyante, manual for a vertical garden, and they gave conceptual drawings as to how they could install them outside their units, their housing units. And then for Sajusa, the students also gave another version of a vertical garden, another training manual. For Nalumville in Davao City, this was a collaboration between a second-year BS Architecture student and a second-year BSID student. So they gave a conceptual design and basic working drawings for a small food processing area, including interior details. So architectural and interior details. And then for Blessed Saviours Initiative Association, yung site nila was rolling, so medyo on a steep slope. So the students gave them provided a manual for terrace garden for the community, and then including the specifications of the planting materials. So 2 options. Okay, so our key takeaway. So having a partner NGO on the ground in the remote mode was key in coordinating with the partner communities. They were able to help the community set up video conferencing devices to facilitate our meetings, and we're also there to guide our students in reaching out and effectively communicating with community members. Second, given this kind of partnership, the remote mode of conducting community engagement projects had a greater potential to reach communities that would otherwise be too far to go to in person. So we were able to provide technical assistance to communities outside of NCR. And third, partnering with other academic units or having a multidisciplinary approach enabled us to provide a more holistic kind of assistance to the community. So our Archi students gave architectural and landscape architectural designs, and our economic student counterparts provided ways to fund, budget, and market the project. So hopefully we will be able to further expand this network in the future. Okay, so now that we successfully implemented our community engagement goals in the remote mode, recalibrating our program for a blended setup will be an exciting challenge for us in the months to come. So this seminar comes in very handy in terms of planning. So for next semester, NSTP Archi and NSTP Econ will still be partnering with communities from all over the country, again, through Tampei, Philippines. So the difference is the groups assigned to communities in NCR will have in-person engagement, while the ones assigned to communities in the Visayas and in Mindanao will be assisting their communities remotely. So even if we already have face-to-face classes next sem, there's definitely still value in reaching out to and assisting communities that are geographically far from us. So we intend to continue this type of engagement going forward. Yan. And with that, I end our presentation. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Ibay, for that insightful presentation about project implementation of the College of Architecture in UP Diliman. So my takeaways from your talk, ma'am, is number one, we don't need to be starting from zero. We have NGOs who we can partner with so that they can easily coordinate with our partner communities. And also, you said you use progress reports as tools, di ba? Si Sir Nats po kanina sabi niya dapat we give freedom, let them be creative. This will balance their freedom and also the supervision that will be coming from the professors. So thank you for those, ma'am. We would also like to present you this certificate of appreciation. So thank you so much po, Assistant Professor Olivia Sicam.
Thank you.
Now, may we ask our speakers, everyone from from Ma'am Ibay to Sir Erwin and Sir Nats, to please turn on their cameras and microphones for our question and answer portion. Miss Universe question and answer. So, from our, wala pong nakalagay na kung kanino sustain a feasible implementation plan that is budget and time friendly. So, if the person who asked this question is here, can you please turn on your camera too? And maybe you can explain the context of your question. Anyone from our speakers who can answer this right now? How do we make sure, or how do we sustain a feasible implementation plan that is budget and time friendly? How can we make sure that our plan is budget?
Can I start po if ever? So ako, I'm thinking, no, based on sa question, feasible implementation plan that is budget and time friendly. No, I think based sa mga example, no, na shinare sa atin, na pinakita sa atin ni na Ma'am and Sir, you can see na maybe there are activities na kasi nga 'di ba sinabi ko kanina, in projects we document the lesson learned in projects. I'm not sure if we have such documentation. Doon yung makikita etong project na to, they spent around this effort, cost this much, and meron kayong mga listahan. So that way you can select. I'm not sure if we can start such database records of project. Pero basically, if we don't have such record ng project, no, we want to we have limited budget and we have limited time, no. So ako, yun nga, the first step is to look for past projects, or you can come up with something and then just reduce the scope. No, sa akin, ganun gagawin ko. Kunyari, ito talaga yung sa heart ko. Meron akong nakitang community na gusto kong tulungan. Meron akong gustong i-feed. Meron akong gawin na something. Maybe you can just reduce the scope. Kung sneakers yung naisip nyo, chocolate na lang. Na medyo maging budget friendly tayo. Okay, sige. Thank you. Yun lang sa akin. The rest po, baka may i-add kayo.
If I may, Afe?
Sure po.
Yung sustainability, we make sure that after the students would have initially, remember, based on the needs assessment, these are expressed concerns and needs of community members. So the project practically is a response to their own needs and concern. And from there already, they participate in the planning. Kunyari, itong coastal cleanup, as to the schedule, they are asked when is the best time to do a coastal cleanup, etc. They have to do that so that when the students pull out of the area, they still will be doing the coastal cleanup on their own. Another is they usually conduct awareness activities. So always yan, webinar ba kung kakayanin or face-to-face seminar on segregation of waste, for example, environmental protection or health issues, so that people would realize that there's a need pala for all of these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Nats. Ma'am Ibay, anything you would want to add po?
Well, actually wala din at this point kasi nung online wala kaming nagagastos na budget masyado. So wala kaming ginagawang budget. Kaya tuloy ngayon yung shift dun sa, which makes it a really good question kasi mag-shift na back to face-to-face. So ayun na naman, parang magkakaroon na naman ng cost component. So yun, very timely lang tong seminar. So looking forward dun sa gap chart next sa next season 3. Yun.
Okay po. Thank you for answering that first question. And our second question po, although may mga na-share na rin pong key insights kanina si Ma'am Ibay tungkol dito, you can add more po. Kindly share your best practices during the conduct of community engagement in NSTP daw po. Sino po ang gusto mauna? Wala po. Sino po? Ulitin ko po yung question. Best practices during the conduct of community engagements in NSTP. Sir Nats?
Yung pinaka-best kaya is they're having to undertake a project online. First time kasi, ma'am, no? A lot of adjustments. Remember, they get to plan, they get to coordinate. Yung Sir Erwin, all of that, no? All of the steps will have to be done online. And even creatively think of ways to implement the project online. The first few months na talagang very strict ang protocols. So ano bang specifically best practices doon? Wala akong maisip. It's the whole package of having to comply with requirements despite the restrictions. I think of specific ones and I'll share if I can think of a specific one. Thank you, Faith.
Sige po. Thank you po, Sir Nats. Siguro po ang question ko, how do you make sure that your students have the tools that they need? Parang paano niyo po pinapadali yung buhay nila ngayon po online? Or mas madali po ba dahil online?
Mahirap yung kasi important sa amin yung teamwork. Siguro yun yung part ng best practices so that we really work well as a team tapos na mag-bond kami. Pag first sem kasi ng NSTP namin, madaming bonding activities. I think in most classes naman nagpe-present sila in class, ganun kikita-kita para pag nag-community engagement na sila, yun nag-bond na sila sa group, 'di ba? Mas madali gawin yung project. So ito yung pinakamahirap nitong online, yung hindi ka makabond in the same way. So parang how to build that bond among the students was a challenge for us. But I feel like in terms of best practices dyan, basta yung talagang yung teamwork ba and then proper coordination and then yung really working as a team and knowing the strengths and weaknesses of all your team members. Yon.
Thank you po, Ma'am Ibay. Sir Nas, are you speaking po ba? Naka-mute po kayo.
If I may, Faith,
yes,
the only contribution that I must have made is knowing where the students come from and contacting them from time to time, making sure that they're on track with their team. Yun lang. Kasi some students would complain, sir, yung taga Sambuanga, hindi nagre-respond, hindi nagko-cooperate. Then through the efforts that I humbly make, at least I would know connectivity ba yung issues nila, nabagyuhan ba sila or ano. And these things I explain to the group so that they would understand until such time that they get to recover siguro. But largely the teamwork ma'am ginawa nila sila. Thank you.
Yes po. I think that's really nice, no, to know where our students are coming from because they also have their own context, the personal backgrounds and needs. Also, sir, there's a question directed to you, Sir Nats. What were the requirements, university requirements, LGU requirements that the students need to meet in order for them to implement the projects face-to-face?
For example, a permission will have to be required. Alam natin yan, no? There's a national guideline by the DOH, IATF ba yan? Na ito yung alert level, ito lang yung extent that you can meet face-to-face, etc. Sometimes, the LGU, in our case, Miagao, that's the main campus, and Iloilo City, would issue stricter guidelines. Not far from what the national government is having or is prescribing, but stricter, like no face-to-face when the national government already says ito yon limited, etc. So paiba-iba, and these students will have to cope with. Sana lang if of course it wouldn't happen, ma-harmonize, and that would be very helpful to us. We clear it with the barangay, we clear it with the LGU, and the Department of Health finally prescribes through the IA.
So every now and then po, you check with our government kung ano na yung latest protocols, tama po ba, Sir Nats?
Oo. Against the students' desire na talagang gusto na mag face-to-face, taking risk, we would warn them. There's still this requirement, etc. They say, we will have a waiver. Our parents would allow us already. And sabi namin kung, well, at the risk of sometimes, should I say it, at the risk of violating some protocols, but if based on our assessment, safe naman, we allow the student. And in some cases, with the presence of the instructor. Yun lang to minimize possible problems that can happen. So risk management talaga na ini-emphasize ni Sir Erwin kanina is very important in the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you po. Are there any more questions from Mr. Rostom J. Bitamog? Hi, sirs and ma'am. What are the possible final requirements we can give for the NSTP 11? Is this NSTP 11 or NSTP 1? First semester to our students. Ano pong ibig niyo sabihin dito? What are the possible final requirements? Nandito po ba kayo, Sir Rostom? Maybe you can turn on your camera and your microphone so you can explain further.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon po. The NSTP1, ma'am, what are the possible activities that we can give to our students, specifically in the component of CWTS and LTS?
Anyone can answer first po.
Yung sa LTS, in our case, COVID to, no? In the context of COVID, dahil yung mga students restricted or limited ang na pwedeng lumabas, they do tutorials with their neighbors, yung immediate neighborhood lang. Or we just have to contend with the tutorials that they do conduct with their siblings. Yeah, on numeracy, language, kanyari, and these are the reported projects that they would be having. Sa CWATS naman, the evaluated project, sabi to yung coastal clean up, meron yatang isa that talk about financial literacy and they did it online, no? Assisting communities on how to save, manage their personal finances, and I hope to raise funds or earn more during the COVID period. Kasi hindi lang expenses. Ano pa ba? Ibang mga activities na. Yeah, because these are related to COVID during that time. Namimigay sila ng kit sa mga drivers. They visited terminals. Namimigay sila ng kit with, dahil hindi sila makapag-gather ng mga drivers sa terminal, naghanda sila ng mga leaflets on the protocols that will have to be observed with the pasahero and so on.
I hope we were able to answer your question, Sir Rostom.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you po. Any more questions from our YouTube participants or from our Zoom participants? While we are waiting for them po, maybe our speaker, ay, eto si Sir Dennis. Hi, Sir Dennis.
Hi, ano lang siguro sumingit no? Sagot lang siguro kay Sir Rostom. Sa ano po sa Diliman po, usually ang requirement po namin para sa first semester would be a project proposal. So, nagawa na po nila yung kanilang mga needs assessment. So, common module po, needs assessment. And then, maybe meetings na rin po with their communities or their partners. Hopefully po magkakaroon sila ng project proposal after that. So, yun po yung kanilang output for the whole NSTP1. Sa ibang colleges po, meron pa po silang presentation ng kanilang mga project proposals para po makapagbigay din po ng comment yung mga kasamahan nila, mga peers po nila. And then, ano po, hindi pa naman po yun final kasi by the second semester, syempre nagbabago po after 1 month, ganyan. Kadalasan po nagbabago pa rin yung project proposals nila. But usually po nire-require namin sa NSTP1 as their final output po sa kanilang NSTP1.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We can accommodate one last question before we wrap up. So if you have a question, go na. This is your opportunity to talk to this teachers, to this project managers. Anyone else?
Kay Sir Erwin yung may tanong ako eh. Kasi yun nga dun sa planning, ganyan, and all the activities, implementation, yun kasi na-mention na lang din yung, yun nga yung working as a team kasi group work siya. So parang during these sessions ng implementation and planning, how do we make sure that everyone will participate dun sa team? Parang meron bang parang technique to make sure yung nagpa-participate talaga lahat, 'di ba? Or talagang takutan na lang, 'di ba? I-monitor mo na lang na yung peer evaluation na lang, 'di ba? Hindi ka nagko-contribute. So, paano pag ganyan, sir?
Okay. So, very good question, no? So, ang ginagawa po namin diyan, to be honest, is for example, nag-start na yung project. 'Di ba? In-implement nandun na tayo sa na-plan na natin. And then i-execute na natin. This is one of my recommendation. The team should agree on a daily sync up. 15 minutes lang. Hey, kasi naplano na natin eh. Alam na yung gagawin ni ganito, ni ganyan, ni ganito. Sync up lang tayo. Hey, Mr. X, anong nagawa mo kahapon? Yung meron kami isang nagli-lead. Usually yung project manager. Hey, anong natapos mo kahapon? Anong plan mo gawin today? And meron ka bang na-stack na pwede kami tumulong? Mabilis lang. Next na. Ako, ito nagawa ko. Next person, si Mr. Y. Ito nagawa ko. Ito gagawin ko today. Wala naman, di naman ako na-stuck. Okay, si Miss Z, check rin niya, ganun din. Papasadahan mo lang yung team member just to make sure na everyone is doing something. Tapos meron kaming tinatrack ko siya dun sa Gantt chart na papakita ko. Meron, yung iba kasi ginagawa ng ibang project manager, meron post-it to do, ongoing, tsaka completed. Yung iba, gano'n, nagpo-post-it. Yung iba, dun sa Gantt chart, napapakita ko sa season 3. Dun yung lalagay na ito, na-start na ni ganito. So, nakikita nyo, kailangan yung, as communication, kailangan yung daily in sync kayo. Kasi mamaya, important pala yung orderin yung, kunyari, kailangan orderin yung ganito ahead kasi may lead time yan bago ma-deliver. Tapos hindi pala naasikaso. May impact yung project nyo and kayo yung magfe-fail. So dapat as project manager, when you integrate everything as a whole, daily may checkpoint kayo. Uy, kumusta pala yung ganito? It's not about micromanaging. It's about making sure that when you orchestrate or sa conductor nga, sabi kanina, you're making sure na oversee mo, no, na lahat is everything in progress. So ganun ginagawa namin. Just a daily 15 minutes lang 'yon. Bakit siya 15 minutes? Para quick lang, hindi yung alam niyo yung magkwekwentuhan pa. Uy, alam mo ba si ganito? Na wala nang ganung chika tayo. No, talagang diretso lang sa work. Ito nagawa niya, wala nang chikahan or chismisan. Okay? So yun po. Good question. That's how we do it. During execution, nagde-daily sync up kami.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome po.
So okay lang yung daily ha? Kasi inisip ko ano ba yung masyadong madalas? Once a week ba yung mag-follow up? Dapat ba araw-araw?
Yes.
So okay
Pero
lang.
15 minutes lang 'yon, ha? 15
Sige.
minutes lang. Yung
Okay,
daily,
sir.
mabilis lang talaga.
Okay.
Yes. Kasi yung iba po, ang purpose nun is may ibang na-stuck. And then, nung tinry namin siya ng once a week, with a short project and short duration lang, minsan hindi nagre-raise ng voice kasi introvert yung tao or nahihiya. And then, after a week din mo malalaman, hala, ba't di mo sinabi? Sana natulungan kita or yan. So kaya quick lang just to sync up, mag-agree lang ng common time. So 15 minutes lang kami. Just quick update and okay na. Everyone is progressing, okay na kami.
Yes po. Thank you for that very good question. My current day job po, that works yung mabilisan lang. Because sometimes we may feel very isolated even if we are working in groups, lalo na kapag ka-work from home or remote work setup. So thank you for answering those questions po. Unfortunately for other people who want to ask our speakers, that is all the time that we have for today. For further questions, you may forward your questions to us through chat, then we will forward to our speakers. Then you may wait for their answers through email po. So before we proceed to some reminders, I would like to request all the presenters, nandiyan na po sila, and presenters po muna. Presenters to have a photo po. So our tech team will take a photo. So tech team, pwedeng pasabi kung pipicturean na kami sila. Kasi baka matagal na sila nakasmile. Sir
Hello
Anthony?
po.
Ayun po. Okay, let's take a photo po. Hello, sir.
1, 2, 3. Smile po.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's have all the participants of the webinar in Zoom to open your cameras for photo taking. Right now in Zoom, we are 50 people, and in YouTube, we have 40 more. So that's a really good number. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us and for learning together. Okay, let's take another photo. Let's wait for the others. Page 1 muna tayo. Page
Opo, we
1.
have 2 pages po.
Okay.
So I'll be counting. Sige
Syempre,
po, for page 1.
Miss Emmy. Syempre, sinabi ko yung pangalan. Ma'am Emmy, Ma'am Maria Clarissa.
All right, show us your biggest smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you. For page 2 naman po.
Page
Okay.
2. Miss, please open your cameras. Miss Melanie, Miss Edeliza. Hi, Ma'am Jola. Diyan
Wala
po pala
pong
kayo.
naka-open ng cam sa page 2. Open po
Hintayin po
natin.
natin. 5 seconds. Okay, Sir.
Alright,
Sir
okay na.
Jethro
1,
Jake.
2.
Okay.
1, 2, 3 po. Smile.
Smile. Thank you, Sir
Okay na po.
Anthony. So thank you again to our speakers and all our participants on Zoom and YouTube Live. For those who missed or would like to revisit today's session or even our first session panganod, you can watch it on NSTP Diliman's official YouTube channel. Just search for NSTP Diliman Office on YouTube. Also, we are inviting you to attend the last part of this webinar series on November 11, that's on Friday, at 1 p.m. We will be using the same Zoom meeting room ID and password to attend. If you can't find it, punta po kayo ulit dun sa inyong email and just type cc.upd. Tapos yun po yung nag-send sa inyo ng link. Students are highly encouraged to attend the webinar, of course, via YouTube. Inaanyayahan din namin ang mga NSTP students at reservists ng UP Diliman na lumahok sa Sikay Lingkod 5, an online or Sikay Lingkod V. Tama po ba? Ang online volunteerism fair sa darating na November 14, 2022. For those who haven't registered yet, please register using this link that we will be sending to you right now on our chat box. Just for a while. Okay, sending this now. Okay, there. And or you may scan the QR code on your screen. Mark your calendars and invite your friends to listen to different organizations and be part of their life-changing advocacies. The event is only for UP Diliman students, but fortunately, the videos from the volunteerism fair will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to catch it as soon as it gets uploaded. Again, to our participants, please don't forget to accomplish the evaluation form for the certificates. The link is on the screen and on the chat box. That is bit.ly/OBRA evaluation. I'm sending it again right now. Okay, so the first one is for the volunteerism fair, and the second link is for OBRA for the evaluation of this OBRA webinar. So that's a wrap. Don't forget to check our Facebook page, NSTP Diliman Office, and our website for our upcoming events. Thank you so much. Again, this is Faith Navarro officially signing off. See you on Friday for the last session of Balangkas NSTP Project Management Webinar Series. Thank you. Bye.
Sa iba kundi sa iyo at sa akin ang simula ng pagbabago. Panahon na para bumangon at paikutin muli ng tama ang mundo. Suliranin ng ating lipunan, unti-unting magagawan ng paraan. Sa bagong siglo na ito ng ating mga buhay, tayo'y magsama-sama. Bigyang liwanag ang daan, maging gabay sa lipunan, kailangan ng iyong kamay.
Halika na kapwa Pilipino, halika na kapwa Isko at Iska.
Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani, sa harap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa, ang bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. May bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo. Ang armas mo ay ang iyong natutunan laban sa karahasan. Ang iyong sandata ay serbisyong sasakip sa mamamayan mula sa kahirapan. Halika na, kapwa mandirigma, nais mo at iska. Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani. Sarap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa. Ang bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Panibagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani. Sarap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa. Ang bagong pag-asa ay taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani. Sarap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw ng masa. Ang bagong pag-asa ay, ang bagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Panibagong pag-asa ay mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo, mula sa'yo. Huwag mong iasa sa iba kundi sa'yo at sa akin ang simula ng pagbabago. Taas kamay ang mga bagong bayani. Sarap ng pagsubok, huwag kang susuko. Bigyan ng boses ang sigaw.
Thank you po sa lahat ng dumalo. Maraming salamat po. See you po sa Friday. Thank you po. Thank you, Ma'am Army.